live! Jesus, that was actually easier than I thought. We're back. Episode 142, MuseMe TV. In the studio today, we have the one, the only, Andres.
What's up?
How's it going, man? Welcome back.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me again.
Of course, you're a great guest. We always have a great conversation about music or something, man. So I was like, we gotta get him back on, man. Especially, you've been working on a lot of music and stuff too, and I want you to promote that shit. So
hell yeah, man. I've been doing a lot recently.
that's what's up. You want to give us a little rundown? Let's start off by saying he was on the podcast before. He does play in a band. Go ahead and give them a rundown of who you play for and what you do in the band. And he's the jock. Just kidding.
Man, now I wish we had done this like a week or a month later because I have a couple of fun things in the works. But
Ooh.
I'll get to that here in a second.
Okay.
My main band right now is Aaralyn.
Okay.
I don't even know how to classify genre, but for time purposes, it's like melodic death metal and modern progressive metal kind of fused together. So
Dope.
I don't know.
And if you had the time, you can probably spend a whole hour explaining exactly what it is.
Yeah. We do a little of everything. And that's been going pretty steadily so far. We've all over the last year gotten our own recording setups and have just been learning that realm of everything. So it hasn't been like slow going, but it hasn't been like just rapid movement either. It's been
It's a gradual build.
Yeah,
Very
a gradual build of figuring everything out and everything.
You know, they say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Correct.
Thank you. Guys, okay, I get it.
That said, we are hard at work on album 2.
Dope.
We had the first release. I hate saying we had the first release because I wasn't really a part of that. I joined the band shortly after that first release.
I'm sorry, guys. Throw that out there. Anyways.
And yeah, so we're working on the second release. I believe we have 12 songs and like a standalone single.
Dope. And you put a lot of work into that one, right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of work for this one. I wrote 2 of the songs that are on the album as well as the single. Or at least I brought them to the table. There's been a little collaboration like in post, but
like you have the main idea, the riffage, and you're just like, yeah, this is what I'm bringing to you guys.
Yeah,
and tweak a little bit.
Yeah, so that's been fun. Other than that, it's been kind of a balancing act with music and work. I work at an elementary school, so during this whole COVID and lockdown and everything, that's been interesting to navigate because I have had a lot more time to put into music and stuff, and I've learned a lot in that time. So it's been cool.
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty fortunate to have gotten paid this whole time
and still be able to work on your passion.
Yeah, and have a lot more time to dedicate to that. So that's been pretty rad. And with that, man, I wish I could like formally announce more stuff.
Just drop hints. Don't even say nothing. I don't know. This is your spot on MuseMe TV. Whatever you feel, what you cannot, we'll jump topics. We'll talk about other things.
Yeah, I got you, man. I'll drop this one because I think like the official announcement is tomorrow, or I think they wanted to do it today. So
this is live, so anybody that sees it will know the announcement, but they won't hear it unless they rewatch it a few hours later.
It's all good. It's all going live tomorrow. I'm not as worried about this one. I've been working on music with my friend Albert Montoya.
Dope.
And he has sort of an internet project called Black Cloud, and I recently joined onto that as well. So I've been working on that. The formal announcement that I'm part of the band is happening tomorrow, but for like the last 3 weeks to a month-ish, I've been slowly working on their stuff too.
Okay.
They just released a single, again, right before I joined the band, so I don't want to lay too much claim to it, but it like just came out Friday, I think, so Black Cloud, check that out. And that came about from this other project I'm working on, which is sort of, I guess, like my kind of brainchild type thing. I've been slowly building this project since 2017, but it's finally all come to fruition this year, 2020.
The bad luck here.
Yeah.
But he still did it. There's some good luck in there.
Yeah. And I talked to Albert about a year ago and asked him if he wanted to join in this project with me. And I showed him one song that I had written. And I was like, cool, we'll write like 4 more for an EP. And then we kind of sat on it, life happened. And then quarantine hit. So I started writing and putting a lot more into all of my projects and stuff. So this one, I'm hoping we have a pretty decent schedule for everything. I'm hoping there are no complications or forks in the road that like uproot all of it. But this one, I'm hoping to announce within like the next week. Don't quote me on that.
Just
but
being hopeful.
Yeah. And it's looking like we will have an EP out in December, hopefully on Christmas. So that's going to be exciting.
Kyle, what is up, man? He says, what's up from Ontario, Canada? Thank you for joining, man. 420. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah. What's up, Kyle?
Yeah, well, again, we're here hanging out with Andres. He's just giving us a rundown of his music and stuff that he's been working on. That's good, man. That's good. The best thing is always trying to find a level playing field in this COVID situation. There's people going crazy, like literally going crazy because they're not working or they're working too much or they just have maybe some family issues with the COVID and everything. Like, I really want to go visit my grandpa up in Taos, but I mean, he's old and I don't want to do something that just would make it worse. Like, oh man, I end up bringing the disease up to Taos, and then everybody there was like, well, we were good until this kid came.
Yeah, Taos is like a lot more of like a tight-knit, closed-in type of city and community and stuff. It's Albuquerque is comparatively like sprawled out, right?
Kyle, we'll have to go. You'll have to go ahead and check it out on. Do you have anything? You'll have to go check it out on Spotify, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. He says, "Can you guys play a song for me?" You'll have to go check it out. Go check it out, man. We'll get some things going. I actually started to start jamming on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
So if you have something that can plug into this small PA that isn't too overbearing, like weight wise, like you ain't bringing an amp or anything in here, but something that you can plug in there to get some cool sounds and shit, we can throw a jam because I've done that a few times with a few other people on here.
I don't have anything on me.
No, obviously, yeah.
But that would have been cool to know.
But for next time,
I was gonna say maybe if we do another repeat,
you're gonna be here quite often. Dude.
Hell yeah,
you're one of those recurring guests, dude.
Hell yeah, I enjoy showing up.
And we like having you on too. I mean, we already have people asking questions and stuff, so it's a good experience with you on.
Cool. Feel free to ask me whatever is being asked there.
Hell yeah, man. Again, we'll play some music with him. I'll get him. I actually had Jaden on a few weeks ago.
I was seeing that. I've been buried in a lot of my own stuff recently, so I haven't had as much time to like check everyone else out, which feels awful. Like part of being a musician, one of the things I love about it is experiencing other musicians too.
Yeah.
And learning from them. But lately I've just taken a lot of time for myself. So I caught like a glimpse of that and I was like, oh, that's gonna be sick. And then haven't looked further.
And it was fun, man. I did learn a lot from him. Got to see more of the like what his aspects of music are and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And I told him too, I was like, hey man, come back on. We'll do the jam thing. And he's like, I'm so down.
Hell yeah.
So we'll have to do that. I'm actually gonna have next week. I'm gonna have Jesus.
Oh hell yeah, I love Jesus.
Yeah, so he'll be on next week too.
Jesus. I don't know. I said Jesus.
It's okay. He's Hispanic and he knows it. The crazy thing about it is I'll do the same thing. I'll have him come on and then be like, hey man, if you want to bring in your guitar next time, we'll do it.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
I don't remember if I actually mentioned that last time you were on here.
Man, that was like
I didn't even remember what episode you were. Do you remember the episode you were on?
No, but it was early.
Yeah, you're one of the first people when I first moved into this house.
Yeah. It was like late 2017 or early 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were episode number... Jesus, I can't find it. Episode number... That's so crazy. You are really down here. Episode 16.
16, okay.
Episode 16. And now on episode 142.
Hell yeah, man.
That's dope. That's one of those things, though. The practicing and the grinding of constantly doing what you like to do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this is the same thing. It's a slow, gradual build. I mean, I get a small audience. A few people comment.
It looks in here a lot more like
studio-like, trying to get a podcasting. I'm just trying to be a Joe Rogan. That's all I'm trying to do.
I got you, man. I support it. I support it all the way.
It's fun though, and I always try to keep something going on. I'm very like always doing something.
Yeah.
Always have the guitar. I'm always streaming on Twitch. I do a lot of streaming of guitar on Twitch, and you'd be surprised with that. It's just like hey man, can you play this cool riff? And I'm just like, I was just playing maybe like drum beats or something. Like there's this one YouTube channel where I listen to where he just makes random drum beats and I just play along with them and stuff.
Okay.
But that's actually really cool for like inventing ideas and stuff because I'll rewatch the stream and I'm like, oh dude, that riff was so sick. And I totally didn't remember it or I was just jamming.
Yeah, man.
I think some of the best songs come from a jam.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. In fact, to talk more about the project that I can't even name. I'm so sad.
Project X
Yes,
at this point.
Project X. Hopefully, like a week or two, we'll be able to talk more officially about it. So yeah, we have like 5 songs for an EP coming out, as well as a couple of covers, but those are just gonna be like standalone, but they're gonna be fun. But the first song that I wrote for this project, it's gone through many attempted bands that didn't like pan out. It started out, I was working with this kid from high school. His name was Jesse, and he was cool. I honestly don't even remember why that project didn't end up working out, but I know it just didn't. So I know this song very first started when I just went over to his house and he started playing some drum beats, and I was like, okay, so something like this, and then I kind of took it home and something stuck with me, so I was able to write a song out of it. And so I had the song living in my head for like 2 years, and then finally last year I started really putting my recording setup together. And it's weird because looking back, like this is the first time I feel like I've had my stuff together. But I did like the first demo recording of it almost a year ago, and it was like, oh, this sounds terrible.
Oh yeah.
But it's a recording.
Yeah, that's the beauty of that.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of other people start with ideas too. Like I could remember just using Audacity, just plugging into the microphone slot just to get the ideas saved.
Yeah.
So that I can always just bring them back. Be like, oh, this is dope riff. Maybe I should add it to something else. I've always really liked playing for a long period of time, like a jam session for like a good hour or two. And then in between those, just clip the stuff that I like and try to put it with Movie Maker.
Oh, heck yeah.
So if I like this riff, I'll cut that riff off. It's maybe like a good minute. Take that riff, put it there. And then I like maybe 40 minutes later, I like that riff.
Yeah.
And then I'll clip that and take it off and put it in right next to it, put it behind it, put it a little bit farther with a break. I try to find different ideas like that too. And I've found a very great avenue of just clipping your music in different spots because you don't know what will click when you're playing.
Absolutely, man. That's a great way to do it. It's in hindsight something I've been wanting to do more of. A lot of music, especially during, the COVID era, has turned, if not fully remote, like mostly remote. So I haven't had as much just jammability with people as I took for granted pre all of this. But like it's interesting because being in 3 projects now, the way we write is different for each of them. So like with Aaralyn, it's so counter to that, and we've all wanted to just get in a room together, jam out for hours on end, and pick out the parts we like and put them all together.
Yeah.
But with the way Aaralyn writes, we program all of our stuff on guitar programming software, so like Guitar Pro or Tux Guitar or stuff like that. And we just send it back and forth and back and forth. And that's been nice because with Aaralyn, we have members all over the place. So 3 of us are in Albuquerque. Our vocalist is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and our guitarist, he is out in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So yeah.
Jeez, I thought you were gonna be like, oh, he's in Arizona. Oh, he's in Oklahoma.
No,
the Virgin Islands.
He's out there. Yeah.
The Virgin Islands.
Yeah, he's out there. He got like I don't even know fully how it happened, so I don't want to speak too much on it in case I get the details wrong. But he got kind of a job offer essentially to go be an air traffic controller, and that's sort of where they had a place for him. So at first it kind of took us all by surprise, or at least it took me by surprise. It just happened very fast.
You're so emotional, man. I'm so don't leave.
And I think for like the first 6 months, there was a very large part of me that was concerned. It was like, I hope he doesn't like leave the band. That would suck, because especially a lot of the material has come from him. He's been sort of the core writer. So like I wrote 2 songs for the upcoming album. He wrote the other 10.
Okay, so.
So yeah, I was like, oh my. And then after 6 months, he like didn't leave. So I was like, okay,
This looks good.
Yeah, and now it's been, I think, 2 years out there, and
He does the same thing, processing
yeah,
the music, making it for you guys.
yeah, and he and I have been back and forth conversing pretty regularly.
So how long was this though? When did this happen? Because obviously COVID happened and you guys haven't been able to do any shows.
Oh yeah.
So how was it beforehand? Did he already move before COVID?
Yeah, he moved way before COVID. He moved out in 2018.
Oh, okay. So he was having to travel for your guys' shows.
No, he wasn't able to make it out here. We had to get a fill-in guitarist for our shows.
Whoa.
We got the almighty Brandon Chapman.
Okay.
And that guy,
He's a beast.
he's one of the most intimidating players I've ever played with, and like, I don't like to say that because I don't like I hate how cliche this is gonna sound, but I don't like viewing music as like competition, like I used to.
Get out of my house. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I understand too. It's weird. When I was younger too, oh man, I was all about like, oh, I can't believe he's better than me.
Right.
But we all have so much individual skills and talents that can't be matched with everyone else.
Yeah. And that's a lot of what I've learned over the last couple of years, especially in playing with him, because like, I think he had, if I'm being optimistic, I think it was a month before his first show with us. I think it was like closer to 2 or 3 weeks though. I don't fully remember, but it was one of those.
It was a close crunch.
It was a close crunch, and he had 5 songs to learn. One of which he had kind of started on a little bit, and then kind of abandoned before he was ever a fill-in.
Oh, okay.
But once we brought him in as a fill-in, he did it. He ground it out, and first show with him was a success. He played everything like, I didn't notice any mistakes on his part or anything.
Pretty on point.
It's a show, so like little mistakes are bound to happen. So I'm not gonna say they didn't, but
Yeah. For the most part.
Mm-hmm. And hearing us like at that time, we were really together as a unit. You never would have guessed that he had just started filling in for us. You know, been to 2 or 3 practices max.
So he's actually like, if he was playing with you guys for a while, getting the skills and stuff.
Yeah, he ended up over that year and a half period where he was playing shows with us. He helped us out a lot. He got me started on the recording path that I ended up going down.
That you're doing now?
Yeah, we ended up, I feel bad. One of the bigger points of contention during that time was I kind of made him record a song for us. And in hindsight, like, I didn't realize I was doing it, but I don't know, I was kind of being like hard-headed and pushy about it. It's whatever, like, we're all cool. It was just kind of a point of contention at the time. But we had a show coming up, and the vocalist didn't have the music he needed to go on. So I was like, let's just record the song so we can hear exactly what he needs to get going with it. And I think it took like 2 days to tiresome and long days, but we got this whole song written and recorded and done and sent over to him so he could practice to it and stuff. So that was interesting. And then like other little things too, he helped me, you know, dialing in live tones. We set up each other's guitars a little bit and stuff like that. Like, he was more or less a part of Aaralyn, even if not like officially. He was doing a lot for Aaralyn, so big shout out to that guy Brandon Chapman, because he really saved us.
Dope.
Quite frankly.
And if stuff does start going back, like maybe the COVID starts getting lifted a little bit, maybe they start doing more shows, he probably is going to be your filler-in guitarist for those things?
Hopefully. I don't know what his life plans are, so he mentioned...
Jeez, you make it sound like guys are going to get married. I don't know what his life plans are with me really
No.
right now.
Not like that. No, he mentioned that he was trying to move out of Albuquerque, and if he wanted to move out of Albuquerque, we didn't want to like ask him to fill in from like Houston, I think is where he said he was headed.
Everyone's going there, man. Everyone's going to Texas.
Right?
That's weird.
I am pretty chill here in Albuquerque right now. Like,
The only thing why people want to go to Texas is because they're like, I don't give a fuck. I need a concert. I need to pay. I need to get paid. I need to work. Because that's a touchy subject in itself too. Like, okay, COVID is out and it's killing people, but there are hundreds of people that are starving and don't have any money for work as well. And they can't go back to work, or certain things about it are cut down. Like, we got lucky because we have kind of an essential job, like education and the medical field. But car hop, I mean, all these other kind of jobs that are just kind of social interaction that aren't there as much anymore. Look at how many small mom and pop businesses are going out of business. Like, it's a touchy thing, and I don't know what to do about it. Like, I don't want to be the asshole to be like, yeah, well, you better stay home and don't kill anybody. But then they're like, my family's dying of starvation. What am I supposed to do? I'm just like, fuck, this is a very hard time we're in right now.
It's tough. I mean, not that I like super did before, but I really don't envy any politicians now trying to make any sort of legislations in place, because now more than ever it feels like you make one move and 50% of people are like, oh cool, thank God, and the other 50% of people are like, I hate you, get out of office. And then you do the opposite, and it's like the opposite, and you try to, like, I mean, life in its entirety is a balancing act, but really with anything right now it's a balancing act. Like, I don't know, I've been doing, especially when this first started in March, I kind of just went like dark.
Okay.
I took the staying at home very seriously, March through April. Not that I don't now, but like I'm here now, so like I take it less seriously than I did then.
And there are some more statistics and actual info that makes this more acceptable, that it's actually safe, that we're at New Mexico's really low. We're doing a lot more to take care of us. So the first question you asked before you came is like, hey man, is it COVID safe? I just want to make sure. And that's what everybody should be doing.
And it's funny, there have been a few people who are like, yo, let's hang out, and I'm like, well, is it COVID safe? And they give me a look. They're
or you can't even look at them, so they give you ...
That too. Like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I live with a few high risk individuals.
Okay.
Namely, my girlfriend's mom is a cancer survivor.
Okay.
With, from what I understand, a decently weakened immune system. She's also a teacher, so that's been fun to navigate. But yeah, so, and like, it's funny, she's been kind of pushing me to, go out and do more, but not too much, obviously, like, still be safe. But she's like, again, for all of March, I just stayed inside. I didn't go anywhere. April, I think I went to like a drive-through once.
One time.
And I like kind of freaked out. So I went dark those months.
The guy had his mask like this, and you're like, fuck, I should have never came out.
Yeah, literally. It's like, oh my God, we're going to die. And like, I had a couple of panic attacks in those times, because the world it was going and went stop. And I went from consistent schedule every day, 5 days a week, to doing my best,
Yeah.
So finally mid-April I was like, I really need to be using this time to like work on music. Even if it's bad, it can always be improved on later, but I need to use this time to do what I can musically. And so that's part of where like the inception of this EP that I'm working on came out.
Please give it a name, like a COVID name or something. This EP has to be named after something in the COVID realm.
Dude,
call it Bats.
I'll see what I can do, my man.
Because you guys made it during this kind of, you guys are working on it. Almost all your projects are all being done in the hush, like, kind of working it by yourself, giving ideas to other people. Again, you can't do the whole jamming thing, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's all been interesting. Like, just there's been a shift in everyone's worldview. That's the one thing I can say, like, universally.
Hell yeah, build that wall. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
But, like, also kind of not. Like, I know people, I hate that most things
You're so emotional, man.
I hate that most things now, like, have political roots and trace back to a lot of, because, pre-COVID, I would say something like, well, I hate politics. I don't want to deal with politics. And now it's like, oh, well, I breathed. That's a political opinion to someone,
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing where I say something and 50% of people who see it, they're like, yeah. The other 50% are like, I hate you and I want you dead. And I'm like,
I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. This is what's crazy. I wanted to bring this up with you too, is like, you posted that video of, what was it? Western music racism, or I can't remember the exact title of it.
The title of it, I think the title got changed because it was too like clickbaity. It was I don't know what the title was, but the theme of it was
music theory is racist. That's what it was.
The ties music theory has to racism.
Okay.
Yes. And it was more like the ties it has to white supremacy. I thought it was an interesting watch of a video.
It was. I liked it too. I saw it.
Apparently most musicians did not like it. Like I finally just stopped looking at the comments because I got a lot of people like, this is bullshit, you know, like I was like, I mean, and so watching the video, the guy was just talking about like, yo, this was coined by racist people.
A male, white dominated society coined what everybody kind of follows in Western society.
Well, and there were other things, and this is one of the things that got debated on it. Like he mentioned other types of theory, right? Like Indian music theory and Russian music theory.
Even like before I saw that video, I freaked out because I was like, dude, that's crazy, because even Spanish have a different music theory. The way they say their chords and stuff, they just go off of the scale of do, re, mi, fa, sol. And I'm just like, what? That's so crazy. Yeah. Why did I learn the stupid fucking E minor scale like this?
Right? And a lot of the, I guess a lot of the point was the stuff, modern Western music theory. Because, I mean, even that, right? 2 weeks ago, I would have just said music theory. Now it's modern Western music theory, except it's not modern.
Yeah, it's like, very ancient.
Yeah, it's dated. It is music and it is theoretical, but it's for modern European music from centuries ago, you know. And they very purposefully ignored things other cultures and styles use for theory. So one of the argument topics on that video that I got, because that makes it sound like it was my video. It wasn't my video.
No, yeah.
On the video link that I shared, one of the arguments that I got was the guy was like, well, they're not talking about like music theory. They're just talking about different musical elements. And I was like, I guess one of the key factors of specifically, I guess, Eastern music theory. That could mean like Middle Eastern, Indian, I don't know.
Yeah, Asian, so many different categories.
Yeah, so under the blanket of Eastern music theory, one of the key factors they have that modern Western theory just flat out ignores are like quarter steps. So in modern Western theory, we have whole and half steps, right? So, you know, E to F being a half step, E to F sharp being like a whole step, stuff like that. Whereas in a lot of Middle Eastern and Indian music and that general area, they do a lot of quarter step notation and writing. Like it,
I've heard of it as microtones.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Because in between, because this is the beauty of math and science as well, is if you think about it, in between 1 and 0, there is an infinite amount of numbers.
Right.
And what's not to say between the letters of A to B with that scale form, there isn't more subgenres of notations, very finely tuned. Like look at dog whistles; those are a very frequency pitch that only dogs can hear, and we can kind of hear it too, but in a weird, different way.
Yeah.
Where is that on my guitar instrument in a way that's like I can actually transition it so I know that I'm playing like the 10th octave of E or something.
Right, and then I mean, like following that, right? We've established that whether or not I guess you call it theory. Because that was an argument. I don't even understand that argument, but whatever. Whether or not you call it theory, we've established that modern Western theory has ignored that, right? And so you look at why. I mean, for one, it is complex. It is more complex than a lot of what modern Western theory covers. Also, quick disclaimer, I'm not like a theory nerd.
Same here. But we know enough that we kind of can dabble in the subject of and we uncover more of music theory every day. So this is a great exercise for us as well.
Right.
But it would continue. You hate it.
Oh no, I don't even. And that's like one of the misconceptions. I don't hate it. I probably did just say I hate it. I think. But like no, one of the misconceptions was I hate like the whole cancel culture and anti-cancel
how
culture
bad it's
thing.
becoming.
Like I don't.
So you're gonna cancel all of music because something that Cardi B is doing with Joe Biden,
right? And that was sort of the vibe I got from the comments on there. They were like, "Well, why are you trying to?" I was like, "I'm not trying to cancel anything. I'm just trying to like, hey, the person who invented this, the person who is still quoted in textbooks about music theory today." Was also like a known anti-Semite and racist and white supremacist. Like, I feel like that's something people should be aware of. Like, you know,
yeah, it's not, and it's not something that relates to the music.
Yeah,
you're not kind of owning slaves. You're not being a bashful person because you follow the Western music theory.
Right. Every single song that I've ever written,
that we've learned.
yeah, has been based in Western theory. It has done the same ignorance of other worlds of theory. So, like, the goal wasn't cancellation, it was just addressing that,
Awareness.
yeah, there's been white supremacy that's linked in music. Maybe we can stop perpetuating that cycle by, I don't know, looking at what other people have to,
Because I liked how they were showing other examples of jazz musicians and stuff,
yeah.
how they were talking about how they use other leading tones in their music. I was like, dude, that's crazy because I hear it all the time. I'm a really big fan of Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, yeah.
And the way he actually does his chord tones for his next leading solo is kind of like trippy. Like it's not something that goes into it Western music style.
Right, yeah.
But it has such a great flow and it sounds so great. That's why he's known as a gypsy jazz guitarist.
Yeah. And following that, right? Like I can't think of an artist who, I can't think of a top 40s artist who does this at all, but even following the styles of the more obscure like metal music and stuff that I listen to, that doesn't mostly, if not completely, follow Western music theory.
I think that's all they follow.
Yeah, and it doesn't make them that alone doesn't make them.
They don't own slaves, people. Just because
Put
they've
it shortly, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that doesn't, some of the most outspokenly anti-racist people I know still follow modern Western music theory, and it's like that. Also, a lot of musicians I know don't even follow theory. They're like, I don't know, these notes sound good, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a level of ignorance to theory overall.
That's what I've always professors that were always saying like, yeah, learn music theory so you can forget it. So
Yeah.
you can actually break all the rules to it. And I'm like, that makes sense because there's so many ideas.
I got into what unintentionally became kind of a heated debate in Guitar Center one time.
Jeez. You know,
Right.
was it with an employee or an actual other customer?
Other customer.
Douche.
Oh, yeah, it was
Hold
great.
on, let me give you this. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got on Andres?
And
Go ahead.
I noticed myself getting louder, and then I noticed him getting louder, and I was like,
You saw some people peeking their head like gophers?
yeah, I kept seeing the eyes, and I was like, so I finally just tried to like dial down the and I ultimately, like, it was a debate. I ended up conceding just so the yelling could stop, but this dude came in with like the intention of decimating me in this argument. So like,
So what was the debate about?
the debate was, at the time, it was like,
Deftones are amazing.
I wish it was that simple. No, at the time, it was either 2016 or 17. I didn't know, like, hardly any theory.
Okay.
And the theory that I knew, I didn't know was theory. Like, I had no idea what music theory was.
Okay.
I knew a little bit of elements to theory that I just didn't know, like, that was, oh, this is what music theory is, right? So the argument was, my side of it was, oh yeah, I think you can apply music theory without the knowledge of what it is. Which, the basis for that argument comes from, you take, let's call it your natural minor scale, right?
Yeah.
Those are that many notes that are available to you
In
a
A.
song.
We'll
Yeah,
say in
in A, right?
because it's easy.
Yeah. How many pop artists, pop songs have you heard take that seventh scale degree, the G, and raise it up a half step to a G sharp to get that harmonic minor style, right?
Yeah, very true.
I had barely learned that by coming into this argument and changing notes, but still relatively, if not fully, in the key of A something, because modes all around, right?
Yeah.
I still don't know my modes,
It's very hard.
right?
I don't particularly like lunch after eating. I think that's what the acronym. I don't remember, but I actually learned my modes from descending order.
Okay.
So I learned the A minor scale, and then from there I take out the fourth and the sixth, and then it becomes the Dorian, and then Phrygian after that. After the three, 4, 6. And yeah, see, it's so complicated.
Right? But, like, you've written songs using these. I've heard, like, when Causes to Become and Taking Heart would play shows together, I heard you guys using musical elements that were not just natural minor. You know,
Yeah.
y'all did the harmonic minor stuff. But, like,
a diminished or something.
yeah, yeah. But I wouldn't have gone up to you after a show and be like, bro, that diminished you did? Like, I would have been like, yo, that song was sick.
Yeah.
Song 3, I think it was. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have been like, yo, that diminished. So my basis for that argument was, yeah, I've been using different elements of theory without realizing it, and you can apply theory without knowing it. And this guy just blew his lid. Like, he was like, you can't do that. That doesn't And I was like,
That doesn't mean music theory.
okay, so I didn't know this scale a year ago. I wrote this song using this scale 2 years ago. Like, what do you, how do you, and he kept telling me I was wrong and that I didn't. And I was like, okay, but I did. So, I mean, and the argument just got heated and louder and louder. And finally, we're catching eyes in Guitar Center. And I'm just like, okay, dude, you're right. I'm full of shit. I don't know what I'm talking about. Good day to you.
Yeah, sorry about that, sir.
Right? I don't even remember how we started talking either.
Just probably maybe heard you playing a riff or something, or
Maybe that sounds right.
that's usually that's usually how it always starts. Is like they're playing riffs and then they like that riff. You're just like, hey, that's pretty cool, and then you're like, oh, well, I actually kind of wrote that in A, and then you're just like, then they go into this whole heated discussion of, well, do you actually really know the A minor harmonic scale because that's not well it's played.
Like, no, I don't. I did this. Did it work? Cool.
And,
like,
and when I first started to play music too, I didn't really understand the actual difference between the major and minor scale, but I knew exactly the beginning start of most of the scales. Like if I started on G and I played the third, fifth, and seventh fret, I know I was kind of doing some kind of scale. I didn't know exactly it was the minor, didn't know it was the major, I didn't know there was an added seventh or whatever.
Right.
But you got the kind of just because of the ear play.
Yeah.
You can hear what sounds good to you.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Right? And so, I mean, I don't know where that guy is now. I wish him well. He, you know, I don't know. I don't know where he is. Wish him well.
Right.
But, like,
Justin, come on in. I'm just kidding. He's right there. We got him up. We got him here live. You heard it all. Just kidding. That would have been hilarious. But that's the beauty of music. Like, the way that it's taken from different forms of culture and stuff too. Like, dude, rhythmic movement in Native American music is amazing, and I understand why a lot of Native American stuff resonate with heavy metal and like rock music too, because of the rhythmic movement of it so much. Like, if you really listen to like a jazz piece or something like really obscure, like Al Di Meola or Paco de Lucia, there is no real good rhythmic movement that has you guessing. It's more of like time signature changes, key changes, cool, awesome, discrete solos that are awesome. But in like even Zulu Nation with the African Americans or anywhere where they have these rhythmic movements that I'm pretty sure got adopted from somebody where it's just like, that is sick. Imagine if I put that in the double bass.
Right.
And that's how that's how music has influenced, I feel, the world in that sense. Get the ideas of it.
Oh, and that's a fun topic too, because music is like a perpetually changing tapestry. So, I mean, even in the last, let's call it 4 years, right? Because I believe I played my first show in 2016.
Okay.
And that was like my introduction to the local scene and stuff
Dope.
that year. So watching music change from that time period, what I had known, you know, late 2015, early 2016 going into my first show versus what I know and I've seen now. Because like part of it is just discovery, right? All of the bands I listen to now, I've not heard of in 2016, with like 2 exceptions.
Okay.
And conversely, there's also been a lot of change. If you went back to me in 2016 and 2015, you would have caught me saying something like, "Oh yeah, I hate pop music. I could do that all day, right? Like, it's so easy, it's so superficial, blah blah blah, same formula." Now, I think this started, or like really picked up at least in 2018 with me. But I've really spent a lot of time listening to pop music recently, and I don't want to be that metal guy that's pretentious about not listening to metal, because I absolutely still listen to metal a lot.
That's like your first love.
Yeah.
That'll always be our first love.
And I still I've seen a lot of metal artists recently be like, "Yeah, I don't even listen to much metal these days," and I'm like, "You feel cool yet, dude?"
Yeah.
I mean, if it's true, it's true, but a lot of people do it and hyperbolize it just to, you know,
have like this image or like this persona that's
and it's like, okay, if you hate metal so much, why are you still playing metal? Like, there's nothing wrong with liking metal. There's nothing wrong with liking pop music.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with liking more than one style of music. You know, like the music I'm making, especially for this project that's coming up, is heavier and darker than anything I've ever done before. I'm excited for it, dude. It's fun. It's different than anything I've ever done before. But like, still, by the same token, one of my favorite bands today is Enterprise Earth.
I thought you were gonna say Dance Gavin Dance.
Oh, my favorite band is
I
Dance Gavin
always
Dance.
see you posting something. I'm just like, God damn it, here he goes again.
I will never stop posting about Dance Gavin Dance, and if you're gonna be friends with me, you gotta learn to love it.
I'll push the like every time, man.
But yeah, man. So like, and that's a great juxtaposition right there. You know, Dance Gavin Dance is one of the bands that I've listened to since 2015. But like Enterprise Earth more recently, I picked up and just really fell in love with. I don't know what it. I know a little bit what it is. I never got super into like deathcore and heavier down-tuned styles of music that are big and loud and to a certain point almost inaudible, especially like live.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Enterprise Earth, I saw their guitarist doing like, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Like, look how together they are. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
So in timing, just so tight together.
Yeah. And so, like, this project that I'm working on right now is a lot, again, darker and heavier than anything I've done before. But I couldn't imagine going up to, like, Enterprise Earth and being like, yeah, bro, this is, like, so heavy because they still dwarf my music, right?
Yeah.
And so, I guess, like, the point of that was, like, gatekeeping metal, right? Like, by the same token, I couldn't imagine going to a pop artist with this project and be like, yeah, my music's melodic too, because, like, there's a difference. So, one of the big songs that got me into like a lot more of the modern pop music that I listened to was Thank You Next by Ariana Grande.
Okay.
I absolutely adore that song, and I absolutely adore Ariana Grande.
Yeah, don't we all? Just kidding.
But like even more than just like
No,
she's
hot. I get you.
Yeah, she's hot.
But
her music is fantastic.
Yeah,
she's a wonderful singer.
You would be surprised on where you find those niches. There's an amazing guitar solo inside a Paula Abdul song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, where the fuck is this guy in the metal world?
Right.
Because he has his own genre of what he wants to do, and maybe he does or doesn't like metal, but he's fucking busting it out in all these where people think that pop music is simplistic or easy.
Yeah.
Then you hear something like that, and you're just like, bro.
Right.
Look at that. Or in your case, the Ariana Grande thing, there's probably some great composition in there where that's why you're so impressed.
Not even just that. There's a song of hers with a guitar solo that's popping off. And I'm like, I don't know that I could do that. And I've been playing guitar for like 13 years now.
Dope.
Like, and a greater example of that, on the way here, I was listening to The Weeknd. Another one of my favorites. Absolutely love it. Yes. More than just that song.
That's so fun.
I've loved The Weeknd for a while.
Yeah.
But one of his songs that I love that doesn't get as much like appreciation or play as much as I would like it to, I guess, in comparison to that song, right? It's called Shameless, and it's a chill little song. It's very him centric, but it has like an acoustic guitar part at the beginning, and it's mostly acoustic. And so that was one of the things that drew me right away. I was like, ooh, it's acoustic and it's got kind of like this dark feel. I'm loving this, right? And then in the middle, out of nowhere, comes this guitar solo that I personally think is more intricate than stuff like even Metallica has gone into.
Yeah.
And that's just in the fact that like I've learned the solo for one, I've learned the solo for Master of Puppets. I still haven't learned this solo, and I still like am intimidated by it. Like,
yeah. It's something that you're just like, oh man, that's something that you listen to with like intent to learn it, but you're just like, I'll probably wait a little bit.
Yeah, I've waited 4 years because it's just beyond me so far. And I'm like, and the thing is too, it's not even just that it's technical, but it's not just that. It's like the most technical, but also the most well composed. It's not just a million notes at a time. It's so well composed. It plays with the song perfectly. And I'm like, I'm listening to this song and I'm like, that's still The Weeknd? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I'm sure you brought someone in to play that guitar. And I'm sure there was like a, you know, if you bought the CD, like a little fine print credit and stuff. But
yeah.
Like, still, I heard that and I was like, yeah, okay. So that whole thing about pop music is less complex and less simplistic, or more simplistic, blown out of the water with this song. And so that's one of the songs that got me just a lot more into the whole thing of I can like more than just metal.
Yeah.
And even that, like I see a lot of like death metal purists who only listen to death metal, and that's cool. They listen to a lot more obscure shit than I do, but like
That's horrible.
Right?
That doesn't give more of an incentive to be I feel like you're more of a guitar player instead of a musician.
Yeah.
In that sense, because if you start listening to other different aspects of music and try to transition it to a guitar, that has you more of building your musical repertoire.
Right.
Especially like one of the things that I've used to love is fucking New Mexico or Mexican music with the accordion.
Yeah.
That dude solos like a fucking beast. And I'm just like,
Right.
if I can actually take one of his solos and transition it to a guitar, it would probably be so obscure with tapping, sweep tapping, two-handed tapping.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I get that feeling. It's just like you hear it and you're so impressed by it and you're just like, how is this not to subpar with top metal guys?
Right? Yeah. And there's just a disconnect there for me because I've also I've been dabbling in singing a lot recently too.
Dope.
I'm going to be doing the clean vocals for this project that I have coming up.
Which you can't say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've never done that before, you know. I've never recorded vocals. I've just been practicing singing, and I hope it sounds good. And I'm not even going to say like I know it is going to sound good because I don't. But
Yeah.
I hope it does. I put a lot of work into it, so I
Yeah.
think it might sound okay.
There you go. You give yourself a little more credit.
But that's part of like the appeal for pop music, right? Because you know the years I've put into guitar, and I just kind of started singing. I was like, "Fuck, I suck at this," right? So I started singing along to some basic pop songs, you know, Bruno Mars here and there, The Weeknd here and there, right? And as I'm diving more into it, I'm like, oh no, these guys are pushing themselves. They're
Yeah.
doing with their voice what I do with my guitar, except
Yeah.
more effectively because they have millions upon millions more streams than I do.
And practice and actually
Yeah.
more time developing like you did with your guitar.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, and then even more recently, I've been learning about production and like the art of, you know,
Finalizing a song
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
putting a lot of the effects that go into stuff that I never realized before. There's an artist who I absolutely adore that I've stumbled upon more recently, Black Bear. He got famous with the song, or not. He'd been famous, but he got like another tier of famous with his song "Hot Girl Bummer." I don't know if you've heard it.
I don't think so.
I'll send that to you at some point because it's a fun one. It's been on the radio quite a bit now. It has just a super stupid catchy melody. And I was like, it's a fun song. It's all right. But then I kind of dove deeper into his stuff. And one, the production aspect for all of his music, he self-produces too, from what I understand. And like, he
It's
goes hard with it.
Dope.
It's more than just, I think I'll put like strings there and
Record and,
Yeah.
and just like a little bit of level. He's probably doing
he's
some mad
meticulous.
tweaks.
Yeah. And he released a song with Tim Henson from Polyphia,
Oh, dude.
right? I was like, oh, that's cool. And Tim was doing the guitar parts. And I was like, that's sick. And Black Bear engineered the way it all goes. But there's one part, right, when it hops into the first chorus where it's these insane vocal layers. It sounds almost robotic and almost like way too digital, except that it's authentic.
Dope.
Like there's probably some pitch correction stuff like
Yeah, probably added like maybe 3 or 4 other vocals and stuff like that.
yeah, but like the brain power that went into that is the creative process that went into the production element of it, and that goes into the production of most pop music, especially recently. There's a lot of little nuanced stuff that I've been observing in pop music. that I'm like,
Dude.
you know, metal for all of its fun and glory doesn't do this.
Yeah.
Like stupid little just
Well, you have to find the metal that does do that.
yeah.
Because there are some metal that does do that.
And there's a spectrum, right? Because some of the more boring metal, right? I don't even know if I can call it metal. Again, walking up to Enterprise Earth, I wouldn't call these bands metal, but some of the more boring bands I listen to still get me in the same way. So like A Day to Remember, there is nothing intricate about their guitar work, nothing super intricate about any of their composition or production, but they're one of those bands that just hits me every time they're on, and I'm like, I'm in my feels, you know.
And
like,
you get it too because they were one of those bands that kind of introduced you to music, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
At least on like this level,
Yeah.
you know. Before I got into bands like Asking Alexandria and A Day to Remember, those were my two introductions into scene music, right? Before that, it was stuff like from Metallica to Disturbed and
Yeah,
stuff
right.
like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, A Day to Remember and Asking Alexandria drew me away from that into the more, at the time, obscure stuff, and then they blew up. And from there, I got into, like, I don't know, Born of Osiris and Periphery.
Dope.
And then they blew up.
Veil of Maya, stuff like that. I
Yeah.
like them. They're pretty cool.
Veil of Maya is one of my favorites. They're so cool, in my opinion.
I've always been a big fan of I guess you could say music overseas because I do like a lot of the Norwegian black metal bands.
Sure,
I
yeah.
really love the way that they compose their music because it's so symphonic. I guess you can call it a symphonic black metal, but that's again putting way more genres into places they
Right.
don't need to be.
Right?
But stuff like Cradle of Filth or Demon Borgir, where those
Yeah.
are so, dude, it's like a fucking amazing symphony, dude. And that's the beauty that, and this is where I'm going to bash on other genres of music, is that metal is a little bit more composed in like a big way with depending on the bands that you listen to. Like if you really get into it, you can
Yeah.
hear bands that are just intense musicians, masters at what they do. Like look at how Dream Theater was formed. A bunch of dudes that went to a music school to learn music became one of the top fucking progressive bands out there.
Right? Yeah.
So that just in that sense shows that you can take those elements of any form of music, anything, and bring it together. Because I like Dream Theater as one of those examples of like, you know, they kind of do stray with the metal scene, but then you do have these obscure lines that are out of nowhere, these intricate keyboard lines that are out of nowhere that don't sound like metal. They don't sound like they should be with metal, but they do, and they are.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's been and that's a lot of what I've been learning over the past 4 years. So by the same token, right? 4 years ago, the heaviest band I listened to was Board of Osiris, probably. They were like the heaviest and darkest, you know, closest to death anything that
Yeah,
I listened
right.
to. You know, Dance Gavin Dance still being number one. So today, right, Dance Gavin Dance is number one for me. But I've also, in diving into the lighter side of, you know, more accessible, more easy listening pop music and stuff, I've also gotten into more death metal. It's not just like middle of the road. Well, it has to be metalcore that thinks it's progressive. But if I talk to progressive fans about it, they're going to say, "Oh, that's not progressive," right? And it's not like, well, it has to be listenable. Like now, it's just like I gotta find something I enjoy about it, and that there's been something so freeing about that because there's something I can enjoy with almost everything I've listened to. You know, I used to be a lot more picky, and I've gotten a lot less picky over the last couple years. So over the last couple years, I've dove more into like death metal, and I hate saying that because like I never used to be a death metal kid. So when I say that, people are like, "Oh yeah, here are 5 bands you've never heard of," and I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't heard of those." They're like,
That's probably
and so they're like, what death metal do you listen to then?" And so I mean, probably my favorite death metal band or technical death metal band or whatever is Archaic. They're one of my favorites. They're just sometimes I don't even know what's going on in the music, but it's tight and it's together and it's fun. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening, and that's okay. This is just good, and I'm banging my head, right? Another one is Alter Beast.
okay.
We in Aaralyn played a show with them back in 2018. That might have been Brandon's first show with us that I was talking about earlier.
Dope.
No, that was his second with us. But yeah, we played that show, and I don't even know what it was, but I watched their set, and I was like, I want more of that. So I started listening to their stuff, and you know, kind of fell down that rabbit hole of where they lead to. And so, you know, bands have been popping up here and there for me. So it's been a balancing act and kind of a broadening act. Instead of just listening to metalcore, like, I hate to say this even now, but in 2016, I was like a gent and metalcore purist.
Just that's it.
Yeah, you know, death metal's too heavy, or it doesn't have melody, that's gross, or
Yeah.
pop music's too soft.
Where's the time change, or
Yeah.
where's there more intricacy?
Where now I'm just like, you know, man, that guy's having fun. I enjoy
Right.
that.
Dude, I've actually discovered that a lot too in country music. Like
Yeah.
Brad Paisley blows me away on that guitar.
Yeah, that's
I can
something-
just fucking sit there. I mean, the songs even too are kind of obscure and dumb. Like there's this one song I've been listening to called Mr. Policeman, where all he does is talking about like he has a cool new car and he just runs from the cops all day. That's all this guy does. But the riff is so sick. The guitar solo in there is so amazing.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are kind of cool too. And you're just like, hey, Mr. Policeman.
Right.
Come and catch me or something, you know?
Hell yeah, dude, that's sick.
It brings that aspect of so many different elements that I love, and he's a great guitar player, and you start to listen to his lines and stuff, you're like, that he's just fun. This is going back to Western music theory. All he's doing is playing the E minor harmonic scale with a little bit of twang and a cool little bend on the third. That's it.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then you end up discovering more of like, he has this really cool guitar. It's a Telecaster, but when he I guess when he like bends or when he pushes the guitar down, the strap has like a on the strap, there's a thing that automatically bends the G string for him.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
That thing looks so amazing. Like it's
Right.
weird, just with one string and the contraption in the back when you flip it over, it has like a bunch of springs and stuff, but it just acts like a kind of kind of like Buckethead's guitar,
Yeah.
where it hits like an elastic. It's kind of that same aspect, but when the elastic moves, the G string bends up.
That's sick, man.
So I can think of some cool ideas already where you're just like,
Right.
and
Well,
you're,
like, imagine what that would do for like a metalhead stage presence, right? Like, especially you get metal is one of the more guitar-driven genres, if not like the guitar-driven genre. Especially the more obscure and technical you go, right? A
Very
lot
true.
of it is so guitar-driven, and a lot of the, especially in the more technical and progressive genres that I've seen, especially prior to COVID, more recently, um, uh, I've seen a lot of guys who make this fantastic music, and they're just like standing there and playing, and it's like they're motionless kind of robots on stage, which that doesn't super vibe with me. I mean, do your thing, but like it would be cool to see you guys move and also have fun to your own music, right? And it's like that alone right there. Imagine what that would do for these bands that are just, you know,
yeah, it'd be a different aspect to it for sure.
yeah. And I don't know. At this point, I think music is about to see a big change, like another just decade of paradigm shift.
Spotify,
Um,
that's killing it.
And you know, for what it's worth, I do really enjoy Spotify. I used to share the things like, "Oh, Spotify only pays their artists, this much, and that sucks. They should pay their art." Now I'm like, they also don't have to pay their artists.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool. I mean, it's not much, but Spotify also does more.
For putting your platform out there.
Yeah, and so, I mean, when I look at the goal, right, the long-term goal of music for me, it obviously isn't to, stay in my bedroom programming shitty riffs on my computer, right? It's I want to be a little more than that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I've heard a lot of musicians say that the dream is to, just make enough money to live off of it, bro. Like, yeah, I just want to make enough money to live off my music. Anything else after that, like I'm not too worried about. It's like, yeah, that's a pipe dream nowadays, but it can be done, I suppose, especially if you're, willing to sacrifice the creativity for more superficial art and stuff,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So like, and that's where a lot of the polarization between metal and pop music comes from. Is like, well, I could just dumb down my music,
And it'll be heard more.
and to a point that's true, but also like, over the last year, I've been reanalyzing, and my goal super isn't to make money off of my music anymore. Like that's just not the goal for me anymore. Um, Anymore, the main goal is to just bring in more listeners who are going to enjoy it.
Okay.
And so with that will inevitably come money. Like if you have enough listeners across the country, that's a tour, right? You have
Yeah.
enough listeners across the world, that's world tours. There's money involved with that. There's also a lot of money lost with that. Periphery came out, I think, in 2017. Their guitarist Misha Mansour, right? And Periphery is one of the flagship metal bands nowadays.
Yeah, like the dude makes distortion pedals and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like they have,
They're staple.
yeah, they have so much claims to fame with their name. Pardon the rhyme. But their guitarist is like, yeah, we don't really make money off of Periphery, and half of the internet just got mad at that statement. And I understand that. Like Misha Mansour, the guitarist from Periphery, has a Lamborghini,
Yeah, I know, right?
but we don't make money off of Periphery. But there's also some truth to that. A couple weeks later, one of the bands I enjoy is called North Lane. Their vocalist came out talking about how they're from Australia. Their primary listener base is in Australia and the United States. It's eye level with each other, and then subsequently Europe, Asia, and South America, everywhere else, right? But Australia and the United States are like the two biggies, and touring for an Australian artist in the United States is just financial hell,
Yeah.
turmoil for them, and touring from Europe, right? One of my favorite bands is Monuments, and they have lost more money than I've ever had trying to tour in the United States, and it's like that sucks. So my thing is so much less about making money off of music now, because like money's great, but uh,
You
money isn't the end goal.
and you could think of it in other ways too. It's like your music comes out for people to entertain, and in that aspect, what they have, maybe they want to support you in other ways.
Yeah.
T-shirt, keychain, sticker, you know,
Right.
there's so many different avenues than just like, why don't I get $100,000 for this record? Like,
Right.
that's not how it works in this sense. You go to
Yeah.
concerts and you go sell yourself before you make any of that money. You put yourself out there, and if they like you, they'll go buy your stuff. They'll be like, that's cool.
Right.
And go check out that merch. You got a vinyl? Fuck yeah, I'll buy that vinyl. But you have to put it out there first at a loss.
Yeah.
Before you can get any gains back.
And there's a large level of, I guess.
Johnny, alcoholic, thank you for joining. He just says, what's the topic? We're just talking about music, different things about... Dude, we jumped everywhere.
Yeah.
You got to listen to this podcast. We jumped everywhere. And Dirty Snow, thanks again. Just tuned in. What topic are you discussing? We're discussing anything. We're just talking about music at this point. Just the way that it's been impacted on us. And obviously, it's... he wants to put his music out there for people to hear, not in a sense where it's just like, I made this amazing album, I have to be paid for it before I put it out there.
Yeah, like
that doesn't work.
If I never, I'll put it to you this way: if I was guaranteed tomorrow, guaranteed 1 million streams minimum on this new EP that I'm working on, that's hopefully out Christmas, right? But I was told, oh, you're not gonna make a dime from it. Sign me up, like hell yes. What are you talking about? I'm not going to make a dime from this EP to take home to put in my pocket, but 1 million people will have heard my song, and like that'll be the general listener base. Hell yes.
I think that's the goal, is the essential thing of what we're doing. So unfortunately, I mean, I'm always gonna be a musician at heart. That's my life. Like, that's the first thing I started to do when I started to grow up. I started at 16. Like, music is my thing.
Yeah.
So I still always play music, but recently, for this last year, I dabbled into comedy.
Yeah,
stand-up comedy.
A little bit about that.
And you would be surprised how fucking similar it is.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Egos, these people thinking they're better than other people because they've been on stage longer. Oh my god, it's so dumb. But what I'm trying to get across is that, like, we have to put our ideas and stuff out there to see if they like them. I can't have a joke that I wrote in my room. I think it's funny as fuck, and then when I go out there, nobody laughs. What am I expecting? Am I expecting that's gold? Why is nobody laughing at that? You don't even know if the stuff that you're making is that amazing, because I mean, we have a passion for our love of the music we make.
Yeah.
But there is a wide spectrum of people we have to entertain.
Oh yeah. No, that's a great point, right? I am putting together this EP on purely nothing more than just, this is music I've enjoyed. I am my own biggest fan. I hear a lot of artists talk about how, oh, I don't really listen to my music. I jam my music all the time.
You should.
I love my music.
Yep.
And right now I have it recorded, and sometimes I'll put that on in the car instead of Spotify because I enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a I guess that's synonymous with conceit for a lot of people. They're like, you listen to your own music. I personally haven't gotten that, but I've heard of people who have. They're like, you listen to your own music? And I'm like, for me, I'm like, hell yes, I do. I enjoy the shit out of it. And at the end of the day, I want to be the one who enjoys my music. I want other people to enjoy it too. But I mean, it's going back to what I was very first saying at the beginning, right?
Music theory is racist?
No, before that. Going back to what I was very first saying about like being a politician right now during the COVID era.
It's touchy.
You know, a politician breathes, and 50% of people are like, I love this individual. And 50% of people are like, I want them out of office, right? Simple as that. It's the same with music. If this sounds like such a cop-out, but if you put your music out and you're the only one enjoying it, I personally feel like you're not working totally hard enough on developing a fan base. Especially just because, I mean, this is the way I see it. I don't know if this is the way anyone else sees it. I will support a band if I think they're good. And I will absolutely stan a local band the same as I would, like, Dance Gavin Dance, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, Jaden could tell you all about this, but you had Jaden on a couple weeks ago. I absolutely stan Patema, right? I love Patema.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are very few I guess, projects I've heard, sounds that I've heard people curate and create, right? Like develop on their own that I've been like, nah.
No.
Like it's so few and far between, right? Like Causes to Become. I loved Causes to Become's music, and I love seeing you guys live. You guys always got heads banging. You guys always got people moving, and it was always just a good time.
Yeah, especially the fact that we wanted to have that energy on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we were fucking doing dumb stuff just to be, let's get everybody involved in the song.
Yeah.
Like let's get everybody moving.
Absolutely. And that's something that's lost nowadays. Now it's like a corny thing to move on stage and like
I like how you said that though. I've noticed that a few times too, where like really intricate guitarists, I know they're really good and they're really doing some really intricate stuff, but they don't move at all.
Right.
And that's weird.
And like for me, right, Aaralyn was just a step up in technicality for me, you know, like I tried to write as technical music as I could when I was in Taking Heart, and that none of that held a candle to what I was learning in Aaralyn. In Aaralyn, like I had to learn to think about music differently to play Aaralyn stuff.
Okay.
And I don't that sounds like I'm gassing it up way more than it should be. I don't mean to do that. It's just like
It was different.
it was very different. And so Aaralyn, I don't know. I'm not the cleanest guitar player in the world. I'm never gonna like pretend to be. In studio, I will absolutely go in and make sure it's perfect. And live, when I replicate it, there will be imperfections, right?
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I am as a musician. And I'm open about that. A lot of people get mad about guitarists who are like, oh, they're perfect in studio, but they suck live. And it's like, for me, I could probably play it perfect live with like a couple of mess ups here and there if I was standing still and being robotic. But fuck that. You know, you go to a show, you don't want to see, man, these guys are really technical. And they're just.
And you know what it is too? You get better with the more you try to do it. I mean, yeah, you might mess up a few times, but that's when you get better. You're like, holy shit, I can't believe I actually nailed that while headbanging.
Yeah, exactly. First few Aaralyn shows were flops for me. Like definitely the first two. Third one went okay. And then the few after that, they were just complete flops. I was like, I knew how to play the songs, but the minute I walked on stage, I like forgot how to play guitar, right?
Yeah.
But nature of live music, especially metal music, is there's a level of it you're not going to remember. You're not going to hear. No one has seen Aaralyn that I'm aware of in the time that I've been in Aaralyn and been like, okay, that thing you did at this particular section of the song, 3 minutes and 45 in song 3. I checked that out on the record and I heard exactly where you did that. No one has done that, right?
Yeah.
They're focused live on the energy and movement.
And if anything, they're like, oh man, that's so cool. I didn't hear that on the record. I can't believe you did that.
Exactly.
Where they take that aspect of, because it's a different idea, the different feelings of what you're doing. Maybe you want to just drop an effect, or maybe it's just like a good slide or something. It comes in.
And that's just something, it's interesting to me. The last show Aaralyn played, we played alongside a few locals. Let's see if I can remember all of them. It was Kill the Bandit Leader and Atlas Below. Who opened it? Oh, I feel so bad for not remembering. I don't remember who opened that show. Whatever.
It's like comedy. You don't remember who opens.
The headliner was Enterprise Earth, and I love Enterprise Earth. They're one of my favorite bands, so I was like super
excited
for the show.
Yeah.
And it was at the venue Eclipse. I don't know if you've ever been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun little venue. I think we had a crowd of like 75 people, so not the grandest, but
it was packed.
It was a little packed. And so I remember this was the first show I was super gassed about like all of my live tones. I had spent hours and hours dialing in my Axe effects to sound perfect in a venue, right? And I didn't even end up, like, I saw the crowd and I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to bring this foot switch on stage to change all my tones and stuff, because like I have different tones for the lead, rhythm, and clean and everything, right?
Yeah.
And I just didn't bring it because that venue was so packed and it was loud. The nature of the show was just loud. So I kept everything on my main rhythm tone. And the whole time, I almost forgot I was playing guitar, because the entire time we were just focusing on getting the crowd moving. And that particular show, we had the most mosh pits of a crowd that I've seen while I've been in Aaralyn.
Dope.
I think there were like 2 in our death metal song, and like 1 per each other song. And it was like people were jumping with us, people were headbanging with us. It was one of the most involved shows I played ever. And like no one came up to me from that show like 2 weeks later saying, oh yeah, dude, your guitar work, it totally reflects what's on the album. At the show, it was like, wow, you're good at guitar. And
that's
I was like,
dope. Yeah.
Thank you. And they're like, complimenting what they saw there.
Yeah, what can I hear this or where can I hear this?
And then conversely, I'm looking at the footage from that show and I'm like, holy shit, I'm moving around a lot. But what are these notes? I just miss note, miss note, miss note.
Yeah.
Like, and people were complimenting me left and right at that show. And I was like,
Just
okay.
take it as it is, man.
Right? So there's a level of, yeah, you want to be accurate. And it wasn't like I was, just super sloppy. Yeah.
Guitar hero noises.
It wasn't so much that. It was just like, oh, that could have been better. That could have been
Yeah,
better.
just
that
a
could have
little
been better.
mess up too. You hear it.
But the energy of that show was the most, I guess, like fluid and lively of a show that I've played at all in 2019.
And do you
really
feel
ever.
like you guys help bring it to that level too? Like obviously when you guys hit on stage, they weren't already jumping and going crazy. You kind of had to build them up to where you need them to be.
And that, yeah, if we were all just sitting there, no one would have been impressed by that.
Yeah.
No one would have been like, cool, that's a lot of notes. I want more of that. They would have been like, really? Okay.
Right.
Like the whole fun of it was getting people involved and moving and, having a good time with the show. And I mean, again, it's all a balancing act. I'll say that a million times before I die, but it's all a balancing act, right? You want to be the best you can be at playing your material while also being the best performer you can be.
Right.
Because in a recording, you're not seeing my face. You're not seeing what I'm doing. So I don't have to record and headbang like Slipknot,
Yeah, if anything,
right?
you could sit down if you wanted
Exactly.
to.
All my recordings, I'm just sitting in my chair like this, like
Just trying to get it down, yeah.
getting it as perfect as I can. But live, it's like, oh, that's not going to be perfect. It's going to be fun, though.
Yeah. And again, it comes with the practice too, because say you guys make this album, you go on tour, play at least 10 to 15 shows. Within the 5th to 6th show, you're already starting to get the groove of how to like recover, or even, oh yeah, I'm going to mess up. Guess what? I'm going to practice it so much that I know I don't mess up when I do that dip or that little thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, that was the one big bummer for 2020 for me, because 2020 has been the bane year of everyone's existence. Right?
Everyone's been pretty sad.
I hate this year. This year sucks. This year has been like mostly good for me. The one caveat there is Aaralyn had quite a bit of traction leading up to the COVID, and much as I hate to say it, it slowed us down. I can't say it like derailed us or anything, but it slowed us down, and we all had to kind of take a step back and regroup.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah. One of the things we were looking at was a summer tour, which would have been my first tour with the band. My second tour ever would have been their second tour as a band. It would have meant a lot for us, and it would have been good momentum and energy coming into recording an album, especially we're like right there about to start this process fully, right?
Dope.
So that was one of the big bummers of COVID for me, is all of
the hype and all that. The build up, because that's the hardest part about any kind of like entertainment business and stuff, is to build the fan base, is to get people to start to come and follow you more. You can always introduce them to the music and be like, here's my CD, hope you like it.
Yeah.
They will, they might, but then it comes into more of an aspect like posting up your shows, posting up when you guys are actually doing stuff, and like you said, building the following. That's what a lot of people, I feel, don't do. Is like they have so much ambition of being a musician where they miss the marketing aspect of being a musician, which kind of sucks that is there, but it's there, and you kind of have to account for it.
And I've heard a lot of perspectives on that too, right? And it's interesting because, I mean, again, I'm in 3 bands right now. Each one is doing things a little bit differently. Part of the way Aaralyn established a draw was through shows and playing and building crowds that way, right?
The whole after thing. I love that so much. After the show, people are just coming up to you and you're just like, hey, how's it going, man? Hey.
Yeah.
You have to kind of sell yourself.
Yeah. I always did a thing. We had stickers for our merch spread, and, a lot of shows cost anywhere from like, what, 10 to 20 bucks, maybe 25 for a big one, right?
Yeah.
So, you get people who are lower to average income who want to come to shows, right? They already spent the bulk of their spendings on the tickets. They don't have money for things like shows, right? Or, sorry, for things like merch. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. So I always did a thing that was, at least if you ask me, I think it was mutually beneficial. So, like, if they liked us, and they wanted merch, but they didn't have the money for like the T-shirts or the CDs or anything, I would give away a sticker. I'd be like, "Yo, if you can follow us on Spotify or give us a like on Facebook, show us some sort of social media interaction. Just here's a sticker, right?"
Right.
And I would do that as much as possible because like it was just easy, and that's how we gained a little bit more of our listener base.
Yeah.
So like I push Spotify more than I push any other streaming services because it's just kind of the main.
Right now, yeah,
Like,
it's super big.
Yeah, YouTube is up there, but like I can't take YouTube in the car and watch like videos while I'm driving. Right? Spotify I can put on and like
just let it go. But you'd be surprised how much people listen to music on YouTube.
That too.
I'm just like, what the hell? Like that same song is on Spotify. Why don't you just look it up on there? It's like, no, I already have it on my playlist on YouTube and stuff. It's like,
so those have been the two mains that I've pushed, but Spotify's been number one in that regard.
okay.
And our Spotify listening on Aaralyn it's interesting. We have not like the lowest numbers or like as low numbers as one might expect. I think our most played song has like 2,000 something plays, which I mean isn't super grand. 2,000 is a very attainable number, but it's something, right?
Yeah.
Our monthly listener base fluctuates, and things have been kind of dead right now, just because, especially on social media, Aaralyn's been dead. But we've just been working on putting together the recording setup so we can get as good new material as we can.
Right, did I find it?
Yeah.
Verified artist, nice.
Thank you. 32 monthly listeners. See, that's kind of pitiful, but streams, I don't know if it still shows them. It used to show them on like the top 5. Oh, weird. Our top 5 has changed. It used to show them. It would be like sub 1,000 or 1,022 or something.
I think it does if I sign, or I don't have, I'm not logged in on this computer, but I think it does say that.
Yeah. But like our Spotify listener base has been not dead comparatively, right? It's gotten, and that's a lot of how is like, you don't want to buy a t-shirt? That's fine. You don't have money to buy a t-shirt? That's fine. Here's a sticker.
Here's a little
give us a listen.
Statistic on where people are listening to Aaralyn.
Hell yeah.
7 Albuquerque, there's 7 monthly listeners. Chicago, 3 monthly listeners. Rio Rancho, I love how it's under Chicago.
Right.
2 monthly listeners. Houston, and in Dallas, you guys have 2 monthly listeners on each.
And see, so like those are super low numbers.
Are those places that you guys gone to though and already played? Well, I don't think you guys have gone to Chicago, have you? But have you guys done anything in Texas or anything like that?
In the time that I've been Aaralyn, no.
No. Okay. So that's actually really cool though, that you're reaching more than just your local area.
Yeah. And I mean, half of that comes from shows and half of that comes from, just whoring ourselves out online, kind of like you were talking about,
Yeah.
Look at me.
Right, yeah. Because I do like when you post your videos of what you're working on.
Thank you.
To just showing people, hey, I'm working. Not only am I working, I'm working for the band. So check out my stuff and go check out the stuff that I'm working for the band, because you like my stuff, right? You see all these likes and all the videos that I'm putting up. Go transition that to my music, because that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. And there are multiple avenues of gaining different listeners. A lot of the listeners that I personally have just talked to and, I guess like mutually exchanged listens with, right? It's been talking about, music gear instead of music, right?
Okay.
Because especially over the last couple of years, I've become a huge gearhead.
Does that make you sound like you work on cars?
Oh yeah, not that kind of gearhead.
Not that kind of gearhead.
I don't know anything about cars.
He drives a Kia Rio, people. Just kidding. I don't know what you drive.
Kia Soul.
Soul. There you go. That's a gearhead car.
Right, but like in terms of
music wise,
music gear. Like I'm in a lot of the gear forums on Facebook and stuff, and I made a lot of friends that way. And that's gone into different conversations. I made a lot of friends with like audio engineers, right, who love to check out the latest gear because it's something they can use to better, I guess, beef up their portfolio kind of thing. So I've made friends with a few audio engineers who are like, yo,
what's up?
wants to work on the new Aaralyn? And I'm like, oh my, this is...
Post a meme.
Right? But I mean, beyond that, I've made a few genuine listeners with that, or at least friends who are aware of what Aaralyn is doing. So, like, when new Aaralyn drops, there are going to be people who absorb it. It could be 10 people, could be 100 people. Either way.
Somebody.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah, and that's something I'm super excited for. And that just comes from, talking to people and promoting yourself as much as you can. Now, for Aaralyn, right, a lot of that came from shows and the live act. for my other bands, it's all starting on internet, especially most of them have started in the COVID era. So,
You make it sound like it's been years.
right.
We've been in the COVID era for years. That's how we started.
Has it not been years?
Dude, it's I've lost count.
Right.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's a time, man. This is a time. It is a time to be alive. I think we just hit 6 months today, actually.
You think so?
I think. I could be wrong.
If you're a conspiracy theorist, this thing happened 2 years ago. So
That's true. That's true.
there is a bunch of speculated theories of why this is happening and stuff. So
Yeah.
well, Andres, that was fun. We've been here for an hour and 20 minutes.
Has it already? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're
It's been
just
like 20
chilling,
minutes
just
ahead.
having a conversation, man. If any of my listeners or followers want to follow you on what you do, where they can find you, give all those plugs out. This is the time to do it.
All right, plug time. Let's do this. So,
There, this is the noise for plugs, and it's about to be plug time. Go ahead and drop those plugs, sir.
all right. So Aaralyn, that's Aaralyn, because
Ever-
everyone misspells it.
And it reminds me so much of Hank Hill's hometown,
Yeah.
Aaralyn,
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, exactly. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, probably on other stuff, but those are the mains.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say check out the Aaralyn Spotify. That's where things are most lively. Sadly, YouTube, we have some videos coming up, so probably subscribe to the YouTube if you want like playthroughs and stuff like that. Black Cloud is on Facebook and Spotify, and I think YouTube. I'm new to the band. I've been in the band for like 5 days,
So you're still discovering more.
yeah. But follow Aaralyn and Black Cloud, and personally, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I don't really do any other socials than those two, but I post a lot of like guitar videos on Instagram, sometimes on Facebook. So if you like those, yeah. And then, yeah.
You heard it here, folks. You guys make sure to go follow him. Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, everywhere. Everywhere music is available. Just go look it
yeah.
up. That's literally all you have to do is just
Yep.
Google it, and it should come up. That's all I did is just Google Aaralyn, and it came up.
Yeah.
So you guys make sure to look that up. We're gonna have you back on, dude. And we'll do the jam session.
Yeah, man. Let me know.
That'll be fun. If anything, we'll just get it done in a few weeks or something.
Yeah, man.
Get a couple more guests under my belt, and I'll just be like, "Hey, man, time to come back. You ready?"
Yeah.
We'll get some things going.
Sounds good, my dude.
Everybody, thank you for listening. You guys are awesome. MuseMe TV. You guys know what to do. Just hit the follow, subscribe. I don't know when I post these, so literally you just have to have the notifications on, because if the notification's on, it'll just be like, ding, he's live. Ding, video just uploaded. So make sure to do that, guys. Google MuseMe TV, because you will find it. I swear, it's just one of the first things that pops up. MuseMe TV. Look that up. We'll actually have some more guests coming up here during the week. Stay tuned, and dude, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate
Always
you,
fun.
brother. Hell yeah. Let's do this.